Hello, this is Tom Martin, and welcome to another episode of A San Francisco Conservative, the new podcast series featuring yours truly. I'm a lifelong journalist, having worked for CBS News, ABC Good Morning America, CNN, and so on. I love asking thought-provoking questions, and that's exactly what we do here. And the series also features, of course, my guest, David Parker, author of two amazing books, Income and Wealth and A San Francisco Conservative, joining us from San Francisco. Hey, David, how are you today?
I'm fine, Tom. Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I am actually not by the Golden Gate Bridge, which you see behind me. I'm on the East Coast, but I wish I was there. Hopefully we can make that happen sometime soon. But I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
I'll fly you out as soon as I can.
I want to hear your jazz band, right? It's like that's something I'd love to hear a little bit about. I know our time is very tight, but when I think of you, I definitely think of a Renaissance man. You were a teacher for 40 to 50 years in the San Francisco public schools. You're a jazz musician. You're an investor and entrepreneur. You're a world traveler. You're interested in arts and cuisine and all of that. How do you see yourself as a Renaissance man, or how did that all come about?
I suppose so. You know, I read and write a lot. I read and write 3 to 5 hours a day. I have for the last 30 years. I'm postgraduate. I have at least 35,000 hours of focused study on political economy. So when I talk of the issues of the day, I speak with some depth and some historical perspective.
And what inspires you to write? I mean, what would you like, the audience out there, readers out there to really get from your books?
Well, my second book, The San Francisco Conservative, is because I'm living in San Francisco and I see my city deteriorating to some extent. People know that there's a homeless problem here, and they know that there's at least petty theft in abundance, and the city's not doing too much about it because it's a very liberal, progressive board of supervisors, and historically the mayors are very progressive, and so we treat criminals as human beings, and they have rights also. And perhaps it's a capitalist economy is making people out of control, and we don't enforce the law very strictly. That's the big thing. We don't enforce the law very strictly, and so we're having a city that's deteriorating a little bit. And I feel like I should say that to people.
Yeah. So issues that you want to shine a light on, issues so we don't overlook them, and some things need to be addressed. I know you've talked about some flaws in thinking when it comes to nationalized healthcare, for example. We don't need to go into that at this moment, but you do a great job of really shining a light on a variety of topics.
I can say one more thing on homelessness, because we're talking that people think, well, if you're going to enforce the law, that means prisons everywhere. And I'm not talking prisons everywhere, round them all up. I'm not talking that. I have, as a school teacher, inner city public schools for so long, that's the one lesson I take. Don't underestimate people. Human beings are smarter than dogs and horses. We really are a smart species. And if you enforce the law, drop a candy wrapper, prison, 1 hour. What? Okay, they mean it, like Rudy Giuliani in New York at his best. That's when he cleaned up New York to a certain extent. Crime went way down because the police enforced the law, no questions asked, and everybody got the message, and crime went way down. And homelessness and all that stuff, a lot of people get their act together. There's not to round people up, to just enforce the law. And the city doesn't want to do that. I'm compelled to say they should have more respect for people and enforce the law.
And that faith in human intelligence, and
yes,
that people are capable. Again, even though you're saying, well, there's some problems here in San Francisco currently, in reading your books, I get a sense of optimism and hope, and in some ways that's kind of a contrast to the politicians, as far as like trying to put one over on the public and make false promises and things like that. but I really get that sense that you do respect and appreciate human intelligence that we all have, the kind of the melting pot there in San Francisco, the many students from many, backgrounds that you taught for 40 plus years.
As a San Franciscan, and I've been around a little bit, the beat poets and beat authors are from San Francisco, New York and San Francisco. But the word beat tells everything. They're saying, oh, corporations, look what they're doing to us, and look what this country is becoming. That's part of beat. They're down. And I'm writing, I'm up. I am not down. I love teaching inner city schools. I love playing jazz. I love doing deals, and I love writing and telling people what I know and trying to help them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely pick up on that in Income and Wealth and A San Francisco Conservative, your two great books. You mentioned deal making. It's interesting, when you were just getting started on your teaching career, you've told us that another teacher, I think it is, or was, said, you should start investing in residential real estate. And that began a very long journey for you that, you've been very successful at. And in some of our conversations, you've talked about, how you have conversations with people when you're striking a deal, you're negotiating, you really, from what I interpreted, you really rely on your intuition. Do you think that's a quality that we all have, that maybe if we relied on our intuition, we might go a little farther?
For sure. People that just think that that's not enough, or they're going to regret it. But every time anyone's made a mistake in life, very often they'll say to themselves, intuitively, I knew not to do that thing, but I did it anyway because I reasoned that I probably should. And I should have listened to my intuition. Everybody has that moment in their life. And I just realized, well, do it. I've done some deals that I thought, this is crazy. And I did it anyway because my intuition was so strong. And sometimes I was wrong. Mostly I was right.
Yeah.
Mostly I was right.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's very, very, very inspiring to all of us, really. Another quality that I love about your books is you really, again, you give us hope. There might be some people who say, hey, I'm just working a minimum wage job. I'm just an employee at McDonald's. You actually wrote a chapter, one of the first chapters in your book, Income and Wealth, saying that's not an excuse. You really can create wealth. A lot of people right now are saying, inflation, we're doomed, gasoline prices. But again, I get the sense that you're really giving people a wake-up call, saying, don't throw in the towel. You need to kind of shift how you're thinking. Is that what you're telling all of us?
All the time. Any problem has an historic basis to it. Inflation is not new. Gas prices go up. There was an oil embargo when I started in business. That was a great opportunity for me. I was able to learn how to buy property with very little down because the property wasn't selling. When you have great inflation, people get nervous, and so you have all these deals are sitting on the table for you, and inflation will come down again. And I'm not sure that's another subject. It's really inflation. It's really demand that's far exceeding supply. That's not inflation. Inflation when government's printing money. We're not, which we are as a result of COVID, but that's not the reason that the prices are rising.
Right.
So there's no excuse.
Yeah. Well, we just have a minute or two left, but I love to close on hearing from you about this question. So we have another election coming up, midterm election for the House and Senate and local politicians of all kinds. Do you have any advice for us as far as what we should keep in mind when we hear these politicians, whether they're progressives or right-wing Republicans, pitching us on why we should vote for them?
Yes. Never listen to a politician when he's running for office or she, because they want to win so bad, and they get a feel for the room, for the audience. What do you want to hear? Yes, that's what I believe. Vote for me, and I'll spend so much money in your neighborhood. All the problems will be solved. When a politician talks that way, run. Don't vote for them.
That's a great note to close on. No, I appreciate it. Well, this has been a great conversation, and look forward to the next one. Before we go, I just want to remind our viewers and our listeners to be sure to pick up copies of David's books, Income and Wealth and a San Francisco Conservative. You can do that by visiting his website, davidparkeressays.com, or by going to Amazon. So thanks, David. It was great to see you again.
Great to see you. Thank you, Tom.